All right, hey guys, this is Matt. I'm Matt, and please welcome to This and That with
Freddie
and Matt, world famous vocalist for Queensrÿche and his own solo stuff, and a fabulous drummer in his own right. This is Todd La Torre. Todd, welcome, man.
Hey.
Nice.
Taking the shirt.
Proudly sponsored by. Yeah, you know what? I love this shirt. I mean, look at that artwork. That is just insane.
That's Camille.
The back's really cool too. Everyone can see it. I had to represent.
I'm not going to say we ripped off the Brave New World cover, but we kind of did.
No, it's a great shirt, and it's great to be here with you guys. And congrats on the new venture here with your podcast and interviews and all that good stuff. You know, it's probably a fun outlet for you guys.
It is, and I'm glad. I'm happy that you said brought to you by Ashes of Aries, but you know, unfortunately, we can't even afford to sponsor our own show. So this is still coming out of, this is still on mine and Freddie's dime. But no, man, I thank you very much. That's awesome, and the shirt does look great on you. So I've got, of course, classic. I don't know what Freddie's wearing, but I got the Sabbath. So
Slayer.
I have a shirt that looks like yours, Matt, and it says Black Sabbath matters.
Yes, it does.
When all that was a thing.
100%. Yeah, they're like, it's crazy. Seems like so long ago. But hey, man, just we were talking earlier, before the show. So you guys did a show last night. And now you're like up with us, just rocking and doing. You did 2 shows last night in Orlando. So Queensrÿche did, and we were talking to we had talked to Andrew a few shows ago, and he was talking about the fly dates, and I guess that would be a fly date sort of for you guys, but for you it's like a drive date, right?
It was a drive date, yeah. It was about a 2-hour drive. And everybody had a hotel. They flew in the night before, and Casey lives in Tampa. And Andrew said, do you want to come up the night before and then stay there and then come in with us to the venue? I said, I think I'm just going to leave around 9:30 in the morning. I'll get there earlier than sound check. And then when the show's done, the last show was at 7. We had a 4 o'clock and a 7 o'clock show. And I said, when the 7 o'clock show's done, I'm going to pack up and get home. So I was home by 11 o'clock last night. It was great. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice to get on a plane because we have so many fly dates right now. And with all these shortage of pilots and crew and all this crap, and we fly pretty much Delta because we all have Diamond Medallion, and you get 3 bags up to 70 pounds a piece for free. So it saves us so much on bags. Right. We all fly that, and Atlanta's a big hub, so we're constant, and there's tons of cancellations and delays. So to not have to fly for yesterday was awesome for me and Casey. And actually Michael lives in Florida now too. So
oh really?
Yep. So it was a good show. It was an indoor show. We were talking before this went live about how hot it is in the U.S. right now, and especially in Florida. And so it was nice. I brought my neighbor with me. He's like, hey, is there going to be a place to kind of get out of the heat? And I'm like, dude, it's an indoor show, so we're good. It was nice and cool, and it was comfortable.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful part about, about Florida, and for Freddie, Phoenix, I'm sure as well. I mean, they know how to do air conditioning and do it right. It's because you got to, otherwise you'd melt.
Yeah, a lot of houses in Seattle don't have central air conditioning, and I never even heard of that before. Right?
I know, it's crazy.
When that big heat wave came through Seattle, everyone was freaking out, and I remember Eddie and some of the guys are like, everyone went to the big box stores and they're looking for wall units.
Yep.
And they were sold out like that. So a lot of people now have been installing central air conditioning in that area because they don't want to deal with that again. So
Yeah, yeah. You got to. You got to. I mean, it's just smart for everybody. Everybody should get I mean, well, hell now there's the probably like the wall unit or whatever you've got in your studio. Almost everybody they're heat and air, right? I mean, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So, man, I just wanted to we were talking about Queensrÿche, obviously, but I wanted to specifically congratulate you. Well, I'm gonna get to that later, but I want to congratulate you on Rejoicing the Suffering, man.
Oh, thanks.
Phenomenal record, dude. I mean,
Thank you. Oh, look at that.
I still buy CDs, dude.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Freaking amazing
It's awesome,
record, and you not only did you do the vocals, but you also did
the drums. Yeah. So
yeah.
Just two people did that record. My friend Craig Blackwell, that I grew up with. The first band that I ever joined was called Blackwell, and I was the drummer at 15, I think. And we've remained really close our whole lives. And then when I've been wanting to do my own stuff for years, and Queensrÿche just takes up so much time. It was just so hard to really get that done. And then when the pandemic started, I remember I called Craig. I was like, okay, dude, I don't think I'm going to be working for several months, 6 months. I didn't know it was going to be triple that. And I said, let's rock and roll. Let's get this done. Like, let's focus every single day. And so every single day we just were writing, and we wrote and recorded that album in 4 months. And Craig did all the guitars and the bass. And then Zeus did the mixing and mastering on it. So I did it here in my home studio, and then Craig has a nice home studio where he tracked all that stuff, and it was kind of just the email. I mean, he would come over. I was like, I don't know if you should come over, dude, because nobody really knew what was going on.
Right.
And you can wear a mask, and we can kind of songwrite in the room if you want, but we need to kind of keep a distance. And we did that a few times, but a lot of it was he would write these riffs and send it to me, and I would track it here and send it back. And he's like, fuck yeah, this is killer. I'm like, is that okay? He's like, yes. And so it was so much fun, dude, because I didn't have to get on a plane and go. And not only that, that's a different vocal on that record, right? So I didn't have to worry about if I blew my voice out, or if I was kind of conditioning for that. I was in that condition for that vocal delivery easier, because I wasn't singing Queensrÿche and all clean in that way. This just let me go all out and do. So if I was doing some high screams and the next day I was like maybe a little not as great, I didn't have to worry that I had a show that next day or two. Right. I had complete freedom to just go balls out and do whatever I wanted. And
yeah, and the cool thing about doing it that way, because I mean, Freddie and I have been doing this for the exact same thing for three whole records. So, and I've found that the beauty of that, especially like you're talking about blowing out your voice or whatever, you work really hard one day, and so the next day you're a little bit more grizzly. Then you just go, okay, that's fine. I'll just use this particular tool on this other part of this other song. So if I'm a little bit more grizzly, hey, that's perfect. It'll work great for this. Or spend the day doing those really close, intimate stuff where you got that cool grisliness and popping. I know
exactly what you mean. Yeah. Or I would be like really clean. Oh man, I'm so clean right now. This is how I want the chorus to be on the song "Darkened Majesty." So I would go to that chorus and I'd say, "This is perfect." And then after a while, when I would get a little more raspy, I would do, like you said, some of that other stuff, or I do some low harmonies or whatever. So yeah, it was nice to just work at my own pace. It was nice to not have a deadline, even though I did say we got to do this within this window of time, because this is never going to happen again. And also because it's my thing, I don't have to run it by 4 other guys to be like, well, what if you did it this way, or what if not that that's wrong, but
it's just a different way of thinking.
So refreshing to be like, this is exactly how I want the drums. This is exactly how I want this guttural. This is exactly how I want the high scream, and I want this delay here. I don't want anything here. I love that riff. And so Craig would play something, you know, and I would hear it and I'd go, perfect, move on. Don't try to rework it. It kicks ass to my ears. Work on a pre-chorus. Let's go to the chorus. We've established the verse. I'm good. Cool. And that's how I am when I'm writing. It's like, yeah, you can always improve things, but when I hear a killer riff that makes me want to headbang, I'm like, that's it, stick with it, and just move on. Otherwise, you'll never get anything really cemented. You can always tweak, and you got to put the paintbrush down. So, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun thing for me because people kind of people that knew that I was in Crimson Glory heard that little more aggressive style too. But in Queensrÿche, it's always this kind of clean delivery. And I've never been a super clean singer anyway, my whole life, even in my teens. So it was a really fun way for people to explore or hear another side of my voice that they probably never knew that I had. I can do a lot of things with my voice. I'm not just like one sound, you know, so that was fun to express.
Yeah. Well, could please pass on my congratulations to him as well, your writing partner there, because
Craig, I will.
Yeah, Craig, please please do that because it's really important, very important record, I think, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Oh, we're not done with Craig yet. My ear was just like, wow, those riffs are just freaking brutal, but his solo work and his little licks here, I was like, geez, this guy's got some freaking chops.
He's really,
crazy,
when we were growing up, he was big time into like Paul Gilbert and of course, Yngwie and Tony McAlpine and Vinnie Moore and that kind of stuff. And as we've matured musically, you realize it's not all about all that, right? And so he was a lot into like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Joe Bonamassa and countless others. And what I think he did really well on this was, instead of it just being like a shred fest that nobody gives a shit about anymore. I don't. It's cool in certain places, but that's not like my criteria. I was like, dude, do your nice swoopy bends. And, he'd throw some blues licks in, but then he would sweep pick some arpeggio thing into a nice open kind of thing where the space. And I remember Zeus was like, dude, some of his stuff reminds me of John Sykes a little bit.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And some of the note selections, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I never thought of it. And then I was hearing Is This Love on the radio the other day, and that solo came in, and the way he plays some of these notes, I was like, okay, that does kind of sound like Craig's playing. He was probably influenced by John Sykes in some degree. But yeah, I think he did a really nice job of showing that he could do that, really speed, articulated, clean picking, but then just not overshoot it and just let it be a little more melodic and put some harmonies in. And so he'll appreciate that compliment from you guys as well.
Yeah, he played to the song. He made it work with the song, not look what I can do. That's what's awesome.
And that was the whole point, and he showed some nice reservation on there that I said, dude, don't lay it all out. Just play what the song calls for. And he knows that, but I'm that guy that just has to say it anyway. And don't put everything in one song. Whatever the song calls for, play that. And over the course of 10, 12 songs, people will hear that you're capable of doing some different things. Don't try to just shred everything every lick in like one amount of space. So he did a killer job, and he's an unknown guy really on this scale. So it was really fun for me to kind of help try to introduce him to people that follow what I might do or check out the songs. And if anybody's looking for a solo guest spot or to collaborate with him, he's all about, because he's not in some famous band. He's just a normal dude that is just a killer musician, and it's a labor of love for him. So we're going to do a second record, but yeah, we worked really hard on that, and I think it made a little splash. So,
what is the significance of the Japanese lyrics?
oh yeah, so it was there was a release in Japan, and actually we have a really good friend who is Japanese who translates lyrics for the label, and we just thought, you know what, if you want to, she was like, I'll translate all the lyrics into Japanese. I'm like, that'd be cool as shit. Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So we just thought it would be cool to have a whole thing in Japanese for that audience as well. And so it was just kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool. I'm looking at their lyrics. I'm like, wait a second, is this an import? You know, like, it
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
that's fantastic, man. Yeah. So yeah, again, when if you have any information for him that we can put on the notes for this show as
I
well,
will.
contact information, that
Yeah.
shoot that to Freddie, and you know,
I totally will.
he's the dude.
Okay.
Appreciate
Cool.
it, man.
Yeah.
All right. So so now I would like to transition now over to Queensrÿche. So you guys have been busy. You know, not only writing and putting together in the next record, but also doing some video stuff. So please tell us about that.
Sure. So we finished what will be the 4th album with me since I joined the band. A decade now. I can't believe it. And it's called Digital Noise Alliance, and it comes out October 7th on Century Media. The track listing was just put out, what's today? Sunday? Friday, I think. Friday. And we released 2 singles from it so far. One's called In Extremis, and that's kind of it's been getting a lot of Iron Maiden comparisons. The vocal, it sounds a lot like.
Okay, so I'm not the only person that heard a little bit of Bruce in there.
A lot of people say that, and you know,
yeah,
people
but
say
that's got to be the highest compliment, bro. Because you know, I mean, between you and Bruce, you know, you guys are my guys, right? So
Hey.
that's pretty awesome.
You know, it's like, so this guy golfs like Tiger Woods. Come up with your own golf swing, asshole. You know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you know,
hey, if I'm gonna be compared to the likes of those people, or Bruce Dickinson or whoever, you know, I'll consider it a compliment. But you know, there is an anatomical what's the word I'm looking for? Significance, I guess, or relativity, that no matter, like, I'm not trying to sing like, I didn't think, oh, Bruce would sing it like this, but I mean,
it's tonal,
clearly,
man. There's a tone there.
There's a tone there, and look,
Yeah.
I grew up loving Iron Maiden, and you know, that vibrato is, the minute I heard that kind of vibrato, that operatic kind of thing, it just resonated with me in such a neat way. I was so excited when I heard that. And it was like this powerful thing, but it was dramatic. And so I was very influenced by you know, Bruce Dickinson in many respects. But again, tonally, there are things that no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to sound like Michael Sweet. I'm never going to sound like, you know, even Ronnie James Dio. Like, it's just not going to happen. I just don't have that makeup. Jeff Tate, in many ways, I could emulate. If somebody said, hey, you got to really study this part, and I want you to sound as close to him as you could, I would come very close. I come closer to Bruce Dickinson. But those are tonal things that I just have. So when I'm phrasing something, naturally, you know, those isms are going to come out. But a lot of people, even there was like, you know, some of the guitar melodies at the end, and there's a certain feel to that song that was Maiden-ish, and probably that was a reason why I approached it vocally the way.
Yeah, went that direction.
Went that direction. Yeah, if I hear something
subconsciously.
If I hear something that sounds very Queensrÿche in the guitar, that's where my headspace goes. If I hear something that's not like that, or like his Iron Maiden thing, I'm probably gonna deliver. And even on my solo record, you can hear things that's like, okay, that's the way I will do like the U vowel, like ooh with the vibrato, you know, or E. You know, a lot of singers will do A when they're singing an E vowel. You know, like if you're saying the word pain, I'll go through the pain, and I'll go through the whole A and emphasize the N too. A lot of guys will just go pain, pain. You know, it's that sound. So I've always been very in tune with those kind of vowels that were very difficult for me teaching myself how to sing. Were those long E vowels, or the ooh and vibratoing in there and making it sound very full voice. Anyway, so In Extremis was the first one we put out. It's a cool straight rocker, you know, not really reinventing the wheel. It's just a fun kind of rocker track. And then we put out a ballad a day or so ago or Friday as well, called Forest. Which is a totally different shift. It's kind of Pink Floyd-y, you know, when it starts out. Actually, the slide guitar in the beginning was something that I played on the demo, and it was just a perfect thing. And I said, this reminds me of something you and Chris would do on guitar, like this. It's got this Queensrÿche Pink Floyd, very simple, airy, spacious slide thing. So we kept that, and that vocal delivery is a falsetto. You know, leaves blow away, very soft and airy, and not a power thing.
It's a beautiful song, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's certainly not the first time Queensrÿche has approached you know, a song kind of with a Pink Floyd vibe. Obviously, Silent Lucidity was very, very much, you could hear, you know, notes of that. So I see what you're saying as far as that kind of vibe. But yeah, man, beautiful song. Just very not, you know, outside of the box. Yeah,
it's very different.
You know, some Pink Floyd vibes, but just cool and different and beautifully done. You know, so
thank you.
Kudos, man. Kudos to you guys.
Thank you. You know, that song is simplistic. We used the mellotron, so you got this cool kind of old, you know, where it has this kind of vintagey sound with some of that like a string type sound or whatever, but and it's just acoustic, you know. It's nice. It's just you know, again, as I've made a post on my artist page, because some people that might not know what it's about, I think it would translate in the video, but just as a preface to kind of drive it home before they do, hey, look, you know, amidst all the you know, which I love, this was just like, oh, not that.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing for me. It's one of my favorite songs on the record, and there's lots of rockers and cool shit on this record, but it was such a nice departure, and I just really love that about it, that it's not that. And it's like everyone's trying so hard, it seems, to just be like heavy, you know, whereas, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but like your band, okay, there are peaks and valleys, right? You have things that are ballady that then turn into a rocker, right? But you have reservation in the vocal, then you push. So there's a peaks and valleys in this give and take. It happens, right? It's dynamic.
Right, dynamic, and I think when you're trying to tell a story, not even just within a song, but also within a whole record. And we've had this, you know, conversation before, like, you know, whenever we're putting together a record, and I'm sure it's the same with you and your solo stuff, or with Queensrÿche, is that you're trying to do that. You're trying to create, you know, some breathing room in certain spots, and create a total vibe for the record. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you know, we grew up. I mean, I know Freddie and I did. I'm older than Freddie. I'm older than you, and you know, but you know, to me, sitting down and absorbing a whole record was the thing. You know, that was entertainment. You know, you went and spent your good hard-earned money on a record, because back then, you know, it was. I mean, it's still, you know, but you know, you don't find those $10 records anymore, or you know, or you had $10 records now. you didn't find that back then. You know, back in the day, records were expensive. You know, you bought a whole record, it was like all your allowance. You know, so you really sat and absorbed the whole thing, and it was like an event. You know,
it was a much fuller experience. You know, and yeah, I completely agree with you that. But you know, when you're hearing, like, obviously all of us love metal and the aggression and the power and that aspect of it. But I also really love, like, if everything is just 11 and full throttle pedal to the metal the whole time, it just kind of gets a little redundant. It's can be exhausting at times. But if you don't have anywhere else to go, it just kind of sucks. It's like just playing a guitar. If it was all you had was a distorted channel, and you had, you know, no delay, no reverb, no clean channel, no, it's like there's only so much you can do with that. So yeah, having a song like that on that record, and here's the thing, we talked about, well, should we put another kind of rocker out and then throw in the bet? We thought, I said, you know what, everyone's gonna expect another kind of rock metal song. Like, let's just blindside them with this really pretty ballad. They're not going to expect that. And the content of that song and the message is to me just really important. And it's about, you know, your real, in this case it was the girl's dad. So it's about your dad, or your parent who passes away, and you kind of feel their presence around you in some way. Is it really an energy that you're really experiencing, or is it in your head and you're latching on to things that you think might be signs or signals? And how do you cope with that loss? And look at Queensrÿche's demographic. You know, they're not 13 to 18. You know, these are grown people who, if we're at this age where our parents have either passed away or they're in their 70s or 80s or close to 90, you know, our parents are passing away. And I think it's something that really just resonates. And the comments of everybody has been like, I lost my dad a year ago. I lost my mom 2 weeks ago. I buried my 15-year-old daughter a year ago. And like watching this video, like, you know, as a grown man, like I'm crying as I write this. And it's like, dude, I mean, when I saw the video for the first time, I was getting choky, like, you know, because my mother is, you know, she's 79, you know, she'll celebrate her 80th this year. Dude, my mom is kicking ass. I mean, and she's still, you know, I'll meet my friend at Bonefish at noon on Tuesday. Don't come then. She's going to the Hard Rock to play slots with this group she goes with. You know, she washes her car. She's so active. She's not even close to like what I consider most people her age. But the fact remains, she's, you know, she's up there in age, and it plays with my head, like, how many more Christmases are we going to have? Is this the last one? You know, people have strokes, they have cardiac arrest, like shit happens. And like really embrace this time we have. And so this video is very reflective. It's very thought-provoking, it's deep, and I think that on some level, really everyone can relate to this subject matter, because we all have a parent, and we're gonna lose them at some point. It's just the cycle of life. So I was really glad that we put that song out as the second one. And but yeah, so we have a new record, comes out October 7th. And there's a lot of we shot a bunch of videos. I'm not gonna say how many to everybody, but I can tell you we've shot, I think Michael said that it either was more or may have equaled the most videos for any album that they ever put out.
Yeah.
We put out, I can tell you this, we've put out videos that require a second hand to count. So we've done a lot of videos, and the guy who's done our videos, his name is Thomas Crane. He's with, his company's called Kill Devil Films. And he's so great. He's very artistic, young guy. Really good.
I've seen some other of his work as well, you know, because he does the tag. So like he does, I know he does a lot of metal videos and stuff, and he's got got a really nice eye, man.
Yep.
For all,
And
you
dude,
know,
he's
everything
not
I've seen.
gouging. He's not gouging people. So I mean, we were able to take our budget and really run with it and get a lot of bang for the buck. And so we're super excited to be working with him. He's become a good buddy, and he did the Crossroads to Insanity video on my solo record and the Hellbound and Down one. The Vanguards of the Dawn Wall, Craig and I shot together because nobody was filming. And so when he was playing, I had the camera. And when I was doing my thing, he had the camera. So
That's
we
nice.
just kind of shot that ourselves. But so yeah, that's really good. And in fact, we go out with Judas Priest again in October. And so right when that album gets released, we'll be on tour with Judas Priest. And then we have a whole full ground tour early next year to support the new record. So there's a ton of stuff going on with Queensrÿche. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And that's really awesome that the timing is right with that, with the, because, you know, when we were talking to Andrew earlier about things and how, you know, how sometimes it's good to do that, have that opening spot, man, because you get in there, you know, you get to hit them with some stuff and then go. And especially if you're going to do, you know, launch some new material and kind of get people used to it, you know, or, you know, get people attuned to the new stuff, because that's always hard, especially with bands like Queensrÿche that has like just, you know, so much, you know, classic fucking record, you know, so many classic records and so many classic songs. It's always tough to introduce new music, but what a great spot that would be able to do that and then go into a full-fledged tour, man. That's phenomenal. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. You and I talked about, I was like, man, I want to take my own solo material on the road and do, you know, a handful of shows up the East Coast, or maybe do something out in Texas and, you know, whatever. And I said, oh, it'd be cool if like our bands paired up or whatever. And we talked about, I remember telling you, because you came out to see us on the last Judas Priest run that we got to do. And I remember saying how there's so much emphasis on the release date of the album and touring, like right when that album drops, you guys are going to go tour it, right? But when you're playing a song that people know, and they're like, yeah, right, then here's a new one. And the energy level just kind of goes, and it's like, do they not like it? Are they just taking it in? The point I'm trying to make here is, I would be totally fine if, you know, because we're doing a proper ground tour for the record. I think it's March, April, something like that. I like that it'll be out, because when we finally introduce some new songs on the Priest run, we'll play like an hour. So we'll probably play one, maybe two, right? I mean, you can't play more than that, especially for that. But when we do the proper ground run to support the record, I really like that it's after it's been out for several, you know, 3, 4, 5 months. Because then when we do play a new song, people will probably sing to that. They're going to know it.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time I get to do my own stuff, whatever song it is on that record, it's been out for over a year. People are going to know it, and they're going to be able to sing along and get into it a lot more. So I'm actually kind of glad about that.
And the other cool thing about that is that, especially with social media and everything, you get to gauge what people like the most. So then you can have those songs on the tour. You know, I mean, the ones that are getting the most feedback. You can figure it out, man. When you put up something on whatever, on your Facebook or whatever, or if it's on YouTube and you go through and see which ones are the most popular, the most plays and all that stuff, then you figure out, okay, I mean, you may as an artist, and we sort of figure out, you know, early on, you know, hey, we did this whole record. Well, these are probably going to be the songs that are the most catchy, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're the ones that, you know, you listen to more or that kind of catch your ear more. So, but yeah, like you're saying, I think it definitely helps having a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of space in there. But, you know,
And you know what? It would be great to, nothing against Silent Lucidity. People love it. But there are also people that are like, okay, you know, if you never played that again, I'd be fine. I love the song, but we want to hear something. So I would personally love to play Forest live in place of a song like Silent Lucidity or something like that. Like, hey, it's in that same feel, but this is something new, you know, and we want to play new stuff too, you know, not to we certainly like to play, you know, the stuff from the past, of course, but yeah, it's tough to introduce so much new material, because people just, you know, they just remember what they loved from the good old days, and they just want to hear that again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a weird balancing act.
It is, man. I feel for you.
Yeah.
we were talking when we just had a conversation not too long ago. We were talking about, you know, doing those songs, doing the classic, you know, Queensrÿche stuff, and how it can be difficult, because, you know, you're trying to do those songs justice, and you're playing, you know, you're singing parts that they're not your own, you know, they're ones that you're trying to emulate to a degree what Tate had done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that made it, I know it's probably, you know, to people that are, you know, outside looking in and going, yeah, well, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter, you know, he sounds enough like him, but, you know, you actually have to work to do those things to sound like somebody else. Like I had to really work to try to emulate to the best that I could what Tim had done for Iced Earth stuff. You know, it's tough, man. It's tough singing somebody else's stuff.
And look,
and
I'm sure that Stu had the same situation when he got into Iced Earth. You have
100%.
you have a very identifiable thing that you do and how you sound with your voice, that, look, those characteristics and those nuances and those tonal qualities are just part of that sound. And you, unless you're doing a complete shift, like a John Bush compared to Joey Belladonna when he got into Anthrax. Okay, he
Right.
was never going to sound the same, but he sounded killer in his own way. There's a sound that goes with these Iced Earth songs that when Stu got in the band, he had to go there, and he did a really great job. You know, I mean, he's a killer singer, but there's an expectation, because you, at the end of the day, you are performing music and songs, and there has to be that sound and that familiarity where you need to be in that wheelhouse. So
Right.
So yeah, it can be a tricky thing, but I think after you've done it a while, like, this is just how you sing the song, and I don't really put too much thought into, I have to sing it this way. It's just, I know that that's how the song goes, and that's how I sing it. But
Right.
but yeah, putting in some new stuff will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I did say to you when I saw you in Philly, man, that night that I saw you, your tone was fucking phenomenal. Doing those songs. You know, I was like having, like, you know, a flashback to being a kid and hearing those songs. You know. So thank you, man. Thank you all for putting in the Needle Eyes, because that's one of my fucking favorite songs of all time. Just so thanks. That you can always do that whenever I'm in the crowd. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. It means a lot, dude. You know, I mean, your comments don't come lightly, you know, and I know that you mean it, and it means a lot to me, because, you know, I look up to you guys, and I look up to you as before I ever knew you, as this vocalist, you know, and I always text you like, damn it, Matt, if I just had half your range, you know. You
brother,
know,
you got a shit ton of range, man.
Such a great voice. And you have that versatility. So for somebody that I do respect your talent, it does mean a lot to me. You're not just some guy that doesn't know what he's talking about.
I know sometimes what I'm talking about, but most of the time I'm just kind of walking around. Freddie, what am I talking about?
So yeah, so we've been super busy, and that's pretty much it on the Queensrÿche front, you know.
All right, man.
What's going on? What's going on? Tell me what's going on in your world musically. What's shaking?
We were just talking about it before we got on with you. Just like you and Craig are doing. So I was like, hey, Matt, did you get those songs I sent you? Okay, what do you think of this one? Are there any riffs you want to keep? If not, you know, we were doing the same thing and just sending files back and forth.
Yeah.
For the next, so our album number 4 is what we're working on now.
Beautiful.
Crazy. 10 years later, 4 albums.
Now, that's on a Greek label, right?
Yeah, Roar, just Rock of Angels Records.
Okay,
Yeah,
right on. So does that get worldwide distribution? Or is it primarily in Europe, and you do get some copies in the States, or how does that work?
Yeah, primarily in Europe. You do get some copies in the States. It usually comes out later in the States, via Amazon, or if these, mom and pop stores order a bunch. South America, it doesn't really get down there. We do have a good fan base down there, but it's really tough for them to get our stuff right now. So we're working on that.
Mine was the same way. It did go to Europe, but in smaller amounts. And so many people in Europe are like, where can I get this, man? Where can I get the vinyl? Where can I get the CD? I said, I know shipping's expensive, and you can legitimately get it in. I think we did a deal with a company in South America, down in Brazil, but I think that our genre, does better in Europe. I mean,
totally.
The record did really well here. I mean, my first week was a little over 4,300 sales, which was awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know what it would have been in Europe, but Greece, as you know, is one of my favorite places on the planet. It's where my in-laws live. It's where my wife's from, and I have a lot of friends there. I mean, next time I go there, I swear I just want to take a suitcase full of shit and just be like, load up these stores, do a deal, and be like, hey, this is how much the CDs are. But then I'm probably gonna get hassled in customs. They're gonna want inventory of all my shit. So I don't know how I need to get more product. Maybe do there were negotiations with a really big label in Europe to do a licensing deal, and for some reason they really weren't. They didn't pull the trigger, and then after the fact, there was some interest again. It was like, well, that number that we offered is not the same number, and so I don't like playing those games.
Yeah, and we'll shoot you Aki's information, man. You can talk to Aki and Lambros, and you never know. I mean,
maybe
they're right there in Greece, so
maybe we can do a deal, but as you know, the bands that even your band and the Iced Earth stuff and everybody's affiliations, that is such a huge. There's so much support in Greece, in particular, for guys like us.
Dude, it's huge. I'd never experienced anything like that. Although I will say, okay, so Greece, my first experience in Greece was like mind blowing, mind numbing, and I'll never forget it. But also, man, South America and Brazil, I mean, it's huge too.
Yeah.
I mean, when Freddie and I went on our first tour together down there, man, it really blew me away. I was really impressed, and so that I know that market. I don't know what the numbers are, but the market down there they're phenomenal, man.
Well,
phenomenal folks.
These are very animated people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And they sing the guitar melodies, and they're louder than you are, and it's so cool.
Well, and one of the cool things when we were down there with Iced Earth is like when we went down to Brazil, they were essentially copying the stuff from Alive in Athens that the Athenians were singing, so the same parts and all that stuff. So
wow.
it's crazy, man. So it's a blast. It's a blast.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm glad. I can't wait to hear new stuff that you guys are working on, and
and we'll have to whenever things lighten up for you. I know you're deep in the Queensrÿche zone at this point, but whenever things lighten up for you, man, let's sit and talk about getting something together, even if it's just a brief tour.
That would be great. Yeah, totally. Because I mean, if I could head up in New York to New York, Jersey, PA, just that whole East Coast, even if it was like 10 shows, over the course of a couple weeks, 2.5 weeks or whatever. Just make it happen, because I mean, even if it was like, I mean, probably can't do it with that. We could do our own shows for sure, but it'd be sweet if we jumped on a leg of like a Testament run or Overkill or something, where it's like, here's these, maybe for these dates, it's like we're the two bands that open for Testament or whatever. I mean, hey man, we could just do our own thing, just the two bands, and probably do great. I'd love to pack, some nice 500 cap rooms or something. It just make it a real intimate metal vibe and just have a great time. That's what I just want to. I want to be able to do this shit live while I can.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
100%. Oh yeah,
I'm feeling you, man.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Hey, are we up against the time thing?
Well, yeah, we got to chat with our next guest in a minute.
Okay.
Our next guest.
Your next guest that won't be revealed to the public, but they're going to tell me when we hang up.
Exactly.
All right, listen, guys, thank you for having me. Looking forward to hearing the new stuff. Thanks for the support. And, if we're in your area or whatever, either one of you, hit us up and we'll make sure you're taken care of and get some hang time for sure.
Absolutely. And, yep. Tell everybody.
I will.
I tell everybody great job. I don't need to hear the rest of the record. I'll just tell them great job on everything I've heard so far. So awesome. Thank you very much, man.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Day, and be safe. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself.
Don't forget, everyone. Right here. Go buy it. Go buy some merch. Go buy the CDs.
Please.
All right. See you guys.
See you, brother.